Welcome to the Quantum Revenue Expansion Podcast. My name is Ursula, and I'm a sales expert, strategic business coach, and USA Today bestselling author. I love sharing strategies that show you exactly how to turn your annual revenue into your monthly revenue. If you're looking to take a quantum leap in your revenue or sales, your team, your productivity, your success, and your life, then you are meant to be here. My goal in every episode is to help you take your belief that it's possible to 2x or 10x your revenue while working way less to knowing that it is happening right now. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Quantum Revenue Expansion. We talk about turning your annual revenue into your monthly revenue. I have a very cool guest. I don't even think I need to introduce her. I have the very cool, amazing, super robotic mind, which I've been saying a lot lately. I'm not sure she likes that. Rebekah Hall, back with us on the show. Hey, Rebekah, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Ursula. Glad to be here for the fans.
Well, fans are glad you're back because today we're going to have a fun conversation. Mm-hmm. And I always like to have these conversations with you where I don't know what you're going to say and you don't know what I'm going to say. So then like cool things happen. So we're going to talk about the 6 things we wish every entrepreneur knew, and you have 3 and I have 3. So I'm curious where they might overlap or not. Because sometimes when we text in a group chat, I find that we say the same things at like kind of the same times. It's sort of a jinx. So I don't know if it's going to be the same or not. But for our listeners, we just want to welcome you. So much is happening over here. So we're just going to jump in because if people don't know you by now, they can go back and listen to another show, but we'll definitely have your bio in there, your short bio. So I'm going to have you start, Rebekah. What's the first thing you wish every entrepreneur knew?
So number 1, invest in experience.
Ooh.
It's funny because I went to the doctor the other day and she's like, you don't complain. Like you just like push forward, which honestly isn't the best. Like, because then you create solutions for maybe problems you don't have, or, if you actually had a test or something that's like, here's exactly what's happening so that I could give you the advice based on my experience, then you would move faster and not waste time. And I'm like, yep. And I can think of the times in business where I'm a hard worker. It's cheaper to do it myself. I'm fairly intelligent. I'm no Mensa for sure, but I figure like I can figure things out. And I think back to the times I'm like, I just need to find someone who knows how to do that, who's done this before. I think that's the distinction, knowing how to do it versus done it before. And there's been a joke in our industry for a long time about people that go to college to get an entrepreneurial degree, but their professors have never actually owned a business. They've been a professor. So like anyone can go to the internet and talk about content, but like really investing in someone who has the experience of what you're trying to do is like, I wish I could say I've done it every time, and I just haven't. But the times that I've had is when I've like taken rocket leaps in my business because someone else has had that experience, and I got humble and wasn't like, I'm going to figure out myself, or I don't want to get vulnerable talking about, I don't know how to do this. I think accounting is where I've really fallen in my business over the years. Like I know a lot about the tax code. I know a lot about business finance. Could not find my way to books to save my life. Like I hire that out and then I work with that person so that I get even better. And we work together so that I have super awesome, low tax bills. So yes, invest in experience.
Yeah, invest in experience. So that's so good. Like someone who's already done it. You're 95% more likely to achieve any goal just by having a coach or a mentor, or like you're talking about having someone who's either already done it or can just do it for you and get it done. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a ring back to Dan Sullivan's book, Who Not How. Like find the who, like how can I get this done? Such a great hack. And it kind of ties to one of the ones I wrote down. I wrote that working on yourself and your beliefs is more important than any strategy you ever implement. Because if you don't believe in that strategy or you don't believe in yourself, it's not going to work anyway.
Right. And if you believe in quantum physics or the quantum realm at all, then if you actually work on your beliefs, you can create your reality, right?
Right. Because you and I both, I think, have had limiting beliefs around that we have to work hard to make any amount of money. I mean, that's how I was raised, pretty much how you were raised. We weren't raised with a lot of money by any means, right? And so money's been a very interesting conversation. And this whole idea, I think you and I really live in the the space now of like money can just show up from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we both know for both of us, I think from in our 40s, I don't think that happened to like our 40s, but in our 40s, we started to see not just in our businesses, but kind of money coming from other places that we didn't even expect. And that's why having a container and having a clear goal and knowing how much money you want to bring in is so important. Because if you don't ask for it, if you don't say, like, we were talking to a client the other day who was talking about, wanting X amount, multi-millions in her retirement account. We started to look at it though, like she already had a lot of it there. There were some faster ways for her to get there. Like, but she had to get clear on what that was. And then it's like the way would show up.
Right,
So
exactly.
So invest in experience and then work on yourself. Yeah. All right. What's your next one? So that's 2. What's your next one?
It's a long road, but it can be fun. So I think sometimes because entrepreneurs are like, they like to gamify, they're super driven, they're willing to do anything. There's like, this is what I did. I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to work like crazy for the next 10 years and then I will be done. There's no done. There's versions of it. But like you're an ever evolving human, your business evolves, our economies evolve, our humanity evolves. We're creative beings. Like that's how we thrive. And so I really just had to just let go and just like, it's fine. And I can have, someone said once, like, your golden years aren't in your 60s and 70s. They're like right now. And someone said this to me in my 30s. It's like, have the balance. Like your business is going to truck along. You're going to do it. You're going to set it up correctly. And it's going to like ebb and flow a little bit, but there's no destination. And so why not have it be fun the whole entire way? Because you can make all the money that you want, but if you don't have your health, if you don't have satisfaction or fulfillment, then the money actually doesn't mean anything for most
Let's talk about a specific example that I think we both will agree on when it comes to having fun in business. You and I have been coaches for a long time, more than a decade. And one of the things you and I both decided in the last couple of years is that we were tired of coaching alone, and that collaborative coaching for us, which I don't think a lot of people do. I don't even know. I was thinking about this the other day, Rebekah, that we might have to do a whole podcast on just a whole episode on just what collaborative coaching really looks like and how other coaches could implement that, because you and I both know that coaching can be a very lonely solo journey and kind of boring after a while. But when you have someone to coach with, all of a sudden it's like super fun. Like Rebekah and I have bringing our collaborative coaching energy together and working with our clients. I don't know, for me, it's a million times more fun than me coaching by myself. What would you say about that?
Yeah, 100%. I think for a lot of reasons, number one, there's not just one way to do this. There's not just one way to succeed in business. And so, number one, you get the different perspectives, you get options. That gives you an option as a client. And number two, 1 + 1 = 4, 5, 6, 7. Like your ability to brainstorm and like riff off of each other for us in our coaching business, our clients get the benefit of that. And it's so much fun because it's almost like we challenge each other. We challenge the norm. It's like, what about this? What about this? And I think that's what entrepreneurs like in general. Most entrepreneurs I know are social beings. They like talking to people, or they like leading a team or whatever. And so that's just huge, is like, what does your business need to do to be fun?
Yeah. Right. Well, even today, like, when I'm doing the podcast, it's more fun to have a guest on, or to have you to like, shoot spaghetti back and forth and be like, what about this? And what about this? And more fun for me to think of 3 and you to think of 3 and to be like, what's the mystery in that? Like, that's fun. And so to your point, it's like, for our listeners, like, where are all the places that you could find fun in your business and really enjoy it again, versus feeling like you have this job, you're a lone wolf. And I'm not saying that collaborative coaching is for every coach. I know there are lone wolf coaches out there who are super happy and they're like, I would never do that. Totally good with that. But for some of you, you might be looking for more fun in your business. All right. So it's never done, but figure out how to bring some fun. All right. My next one is this, because we talk about, this is quantum revenue expansion. We talk about quantum leaps here. As I'm holding my pyramid, I'm always holding this little pyramid from, where's your pyramid?
Where'd it go? Here's mine right here.
Where the quantum physics in.
I actually also have this one from Peru. So
yeah,
I like
that's
dual pyramid.
It's amazing. Yeah. This one was from the right next to the Great Pyramids of Giza. So quantum leaps do not happen because people always like, I want a quantum leap, but they do not happen until you are crystal clear on exactly what you want to create. And then a quantum leap, it's like a stretch goal. It's like that next level of what you want to create, but it cannot happen until you're crystal clear. And I think everybody wants it backwards. You know, they just like want the quantum leap, but they're not willing to say out loud or claim it as you like. They're not willing to say like, this is what I really want. And so then you can get stuck in that mediocrity of just like sort of getting by and sort of doing this. But then when you start to claim it, even when it like your beliefs are like, that's not possible, or I don't know how I'm going to get there. It can't happen until you claim it. And even, I would say, Rebekah, think about in the last 2 weeks, all the clients that we've worked with and the breakthrough conversations have really come around them declaring out loud, again, like, here's my 7-figure goal, here's my multi 7-figure goal. And then seeing so brilliantly that it's already there, which is one of the other things I'm going to talk about. But like the quantum leap can't happen until you are crystal clear.
Yeah. And I would say that goes both ways. Crystal clear about what you want and crystal clear about what you don't want.
Yeah.
Because I think we make up stories. I was working with a client of ours the other day, which I won't say their name, but it took a minute to get underneath all the layers of what was really bothering them. And there was a lot of story. And I'm like, you know what? I just keep hearing, is there something under this, something under this? And it really came down to actually, they might have to change their business up a little bit, but because they were trying to like make, I don't want to say excuses, right? Or reasons, or what I would call like shallow, like, well, maybe it's this, and just kind of, maybe it's this, or it really was a very deep-seated, draining energy that I'm like, this is the part that we need to address. And so that, being clear about what you don't want, I think when we're talking about self-expression, everyone likes to say, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be this type of person. I want to live in a mansion. I want to be respected and revered or whatever. Yeah. I think like being clear about what you don't want. Like I'm very clear. I don't want a 5,000 square foot house, or and it has nothing to do with like success or anything like that. It's just like, I don't want the clutter. I don't want to have to manage that much space. And, like sometimes people are like, well, if you don't live in that type of house or in this area, then you're not successful. And it's like, I totally reject that.
Well, right.
I'm declaring what I want to play with and the container I want to be in. So I think it's on both sides. It's what you want and what you don't want, which Chris Atwood in the Passion Test talks about that. When they talk about manifesting and things like that, it's just as important to be clear about what you don't want as it is what you do want. So I think it's
right. It reminds me of the book Millionaire Next Door, where you have no idea that they're a millionaire, right? Because they live in the house that they choose, which brings comfort and community. And you choose a house based on your values, and your values are all about family, right? Family is high up. So your house is all built around gathering around the island. What is the island? Like, how big does the island need to be to fit everybody, right? And then having the pool so people can come. So really just aligning your values with what you do want and what you don't want. Love it. Okay. So the last one I have, if you have the desire. So if your desire is, like we just talked about with that client, a 7-figure business, the way to get there already exists around them or you. So the second you get clear on the quantum leap, and it has to be believable at some level. If you're at 0 and you're like, I want a $100 million business, but you don't there's nothing in you that believes that, like you're just throwing a number out there, that's different. But if you say, I want a 7-figure business, and you can actually kind of have a little bit of a visual what that would look like and get a sense of that, and maybe even have a model of what you've seen someone else doing, right? So it has some legs. But once you have that desire and you get that clear vision of what it looks like, the way always shows up. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, and this is the part I love, like, again, like we're just working with a client 20 minutes ago and getting him super clear on, his quantum leap and what he wants to create next. And when we start digging in, like, I already know, Rebekah, I already know that he's sitting on it. Like, there's so much opportunity. It's not even going to take that. It's going to be like, turn this dial, turn that dial, turn this dial over here. And he's going to have created what he wants to create next. Now, he's been in business for a while. He's got a 7-figure business, but for him to go to that next level and create that dream business, which allows him to give back even more, which he cares about, it's like 3 dials. So again, if you have the desire, whatever it is, having a business, having a car, different home, sending your kid to private school, whatever your heart's desire is, the way to get there already exists around you.
Yep.
And that's what, biblical texts and metaphysicists and the Kabbalah and all the things, that's what they've been telling us for years. But it's like, I really get that. And that's one thing we want our listeners to get. Like, if you have the desire, the way is there.
Well, that's what gets really exciting when you actually understand that concept, because if you actually think of something or something comes up, then I get excited because I'm like, sweet, if I thought of it, then it already exists somewhere. I just need to tap into that. So that gets really is an exciting practice.
Yes. Okay. Just want to make sure I have all of them. All right. What's your last one?
Okay, I might have to explain this one, but I think it's important because I was a victim of it, right?
Okay.
Don't waste your energy on what could happen. Save it for when it actually happens. And you've heard me refer to this before as my anticipation anxiety, where because of my robotic brain that Ursula likes to talk about, I like to figure out every possible scenario so that I'm never blindsided in life and I'm prepared for everything and I'm super reliable. And, because I want to be respected and I want people, when they pay me to work with them, to feel that they're getting the value, right? So that means I've just got to be Johnny on the spot all the time with everything. And what I've learned, and a few years ago, is that's exhausting. And then what happens is I actually don't have what I need for what is actually happening. So I trust myself that. Here's the thing. We already talked about this on my second one, right? It's a long road, but it can be fun. Like we do not have control over everything. You don't control the economy. You don't control the weather. So things are going to happen in your business. Worrying about what could happen is going to not be fun in your business, and it's really going to drain you. And this is why people burn out and go get jobs and all that kind of stuff. Just trust yourself that if and when something happens, whether it's awesome or maybe not as comfortable, that you have everything you need to deal with that thing. Like that was a big game changer for me personally. Is I'm good. I can handle what comes. I'll traverse it. I can get a resource for it. I have support for it. And I'll tell you what, like my anticipation anxiety has pretty much almost gone away. I feel a lot just happier in general, like just knowing that I got it handled. And I wish I had done that the first 15 years of my business.
So like, what's a day-to-day thing, or like a moment, like when you decided to make this shift, like what was a tool you used, or how did you help yourself do this?
Oh my gosh, I think it's tools, right? A lot of it is some personal development. It's some beliefs. It's being able to express that that's my fear and that's how I value myself. I think I used to value myself based on what I did. I think that's a throwback from being an 80s kid, right? It's what can you produce?
Mm-hmm.
Like, first into work, last person to leave, doesn't take sick days. Like, I think that's where I kind of grew up with that. And when I finally got that I was enough, and then kind of like express, like, and I had some certain people in my life be like, no, you're like whole and complete as you are. Like, you're one of the smartest people I know. Like, you're one of the most reliable people I know. I was like, oh, I'm already doing it, so I don't need to worry about it. And it doesn't, it's not a switch overnight. And there's some times where I will get reactionary, but like, honestly, I feel it in my body, right? Like, oh, you're reacting, you're feeling drained. Like, let's take a look at that. And I just have to remember that I think part of it comes with age, I would say as well. I could tell all the young kids out there.
Yeah.
As you get older, you realize what deserves your attention and what just doesn't really matter anymore. When you're younger, everything matters. You think it does, and it just really doesn't.
It really doesn't. And a good night's sleep too, like really helps reset all of that, all of those worries. But
Mm,
you're right. Oh my gosh. Like if we went back to our 20 something year old selves, oh,
exhausting.
so much anxiety about the future, so much all the things. Yeah, I agree with you. Like age definitely, when you have tools and you practice these things and you're committed to making
Mhm.
the changes, can make a huge, huge difference. So
Yeah, I think sometimes what's unfortunate is you get to that point where you're forced to find the tool or you're forced to find the belief because you've really just worn yourself out, and it just doesn't have to get to that point. Like I think
yeah.
that's, I guess like you appreciate, right? You appreciate the lesson, but
Hmm.
yeah, it'd be nice to discover that in yourself earlier. I think as a society we'd be a lot happier.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Rebekah Hall. So here's what we said. We said, so 6 things we wish every entrepreneur knew. Invest in experience, work on yourself. Remember that it's never all done, but it can be fun. Quantum leaps happen when you're clear on the outcome. If it's something that you want in your heart, if it's your heart's desire, the way to get there exists around you. And then your last one is don't waste your time on what could happen. Yeah, make those shifts. Rebekah Hall, thank you and your
Yeah, this
pyramids
was
for
fun.
hanging out. Always fun to have you back. I know our listeners love all the tips that you share, and I'm sure this is one that has hopefully given our listeners some shifts today. And for those of you who are listening anywhere in the world, we really appreciate you. So glad that you're hanging out. Definitely, if you feel compelled, leave us a review or share this episode with somebody that you know could help. All right, everybody, that's it for this week. Make this your most epic month yet. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you loved what you heard, be sure to leave a review on iTunes so I know what you like and can create content that guides you to uplevel your business even more. If you want more strategic business tips, follow me on social media. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and you can visit my website at www.ursulainc.co. I love being on this journey with you and can't wait to connect with you on the next episode. In the meantime, make this your most epic month yet.